The sun scorched the dry red earth of Redemption Ridge, a battered frontier town nestled between the mesas of northern Arizona. The wind blew hot and mean through its creaky saloons and shuttered shops, carrying with it the scent of horses, gun oil, and desperation. Clara Boone stepped off the broken wagon she had traveled in from New Mexico, her skirts torn, her eyes wary. At 22, she'd seen more cruelty than most grizzled men twice her age. Her face still bore the faint scar from when her husband, now buried in an unmarked grave, had backhanded her during one of his rages. She hadn't come to Redemption Ridge by choice. A trader heading west offered her a ride when she was found passed out near the Pecos River. Now, she stood alone, dusty and trembling, clutching a worn satchel with nothing inside but a single photograph and a piece of jerky. The town wasn't friendly. Men stared. Women whispered. The sheriff, too drunk to notice her desperation, laughed when she asked about honest work. But Clara wasn't weak anymore. She hadn't survived a violent husband and a wagon ambush just to die hungry. She needed shelter. She needed protection. She needed a chance. Chapter 2. The Devil in the Red Bandana. They called him Elias Red Knife Tallbear, a half Apache outlaw, known for carving up white men and disappearing into the desert like smoke. He stood over 6 feet, built like a stallion, with skin the color of sun-warmed copper. The red bandana he wore over his long black hair gave him his name and his legend. The morning Clara arrived, Elias rode into town with a bullet wound in his shoulder, dripping blood and rage. 3 deputies tried to arrest him. 2 got thrown. 1 got stabbed. And then he disappeared again, vanishing into the canyons. But rumors said he'd taken refuge in the hills above Redemption Ridge. Wounded. Hunted. Dangerous. Chapter 3. Please don't harm me. Days passed. Clara begged for work, but no one hired a stranger with haunted eyes. One night, as the stars bled across the sky, she stumbled from town, tears mixing with dust. Her body shook from hunger, her soul from despair. A sharp sound, like the whisper of a blade, came behind her. She spun and gasped. There he was, Elias Tallbear, wounded, wild-eyed, knife in hand. She froze as he advanced, staggering from blood loss, teeth clenched. She could see the fury of a hunted man in his gaze, but also the pain. He raised the blade. Please, she whispered, trembling. Please don't harm me. I'll bear you strong children. The world paused. His hand stilled. Her voice had come from instinct, a primal desperation to live. But her eyes, those battered, beautiful eyes, were honest, not begging, offering. Elias stared at her, then slowly lowered a blade, and collapsed at her feet. Chapter 4. In the shadow of a canyon. Clara dragged him into a cave 1/2 mile from the ridge. For 3 days, she cleaned his wound with river water, packed it with herbs, and fed him what little she had. He never said much, only stared with those obsidian eyes. You saved me, he murmured one dawn. You spared me first, she replied. Their bond grew in silence, stitched together with firelight, pain, and the scent of healing. She learned he wasn't the monster the wanted posters made him. He had been born to a white mother and Apache father. When soldiers slaughtered his village, he survived by becoming vengeance. He only killed those who hunted him first. His war wasn't with innocents. It was with the men who wore badges dipped in blood. You'll leave when you're well, she said on the 6th day, already fearing his absence. Not if you still mean what you said, Elias answered. About bearing children. About staying. Clara flushed. I meant it to live. But I'd say it again, to love. Chapter 5. The town turned cold. Weeks later, they emerged from the hills. Together, Elias rode into town unarmed, Clara beside him, chin held high. Whispers turned to shouts. The sheriff emerged, pistol drawn, flanked by drunk deputies and angry ranchers. Clara stepped forward. He's not who you think. He hasn't harmed a soul here. He's wanted, the sheriff spat. This ain't Apache land. It's America. Clara's voice rang out. And yet, not one of you helped me when I needed food, when I begged for work. He saved me, protected me, while you let me rot. Murmurs rose. Some men lowered their guns. A rancher named Jim Lively, an old Civil War veteran, stepped forward. If he stays peaceful, let him be. I seen too many lies dressed up as law. But the sheriff wasn't swayed. You've got till sundown, he hissed. Leave or be buried. Chapter 6, Fire and Blood. They rode out, again, into the wilderness. This time, together, a woman reborn from pain, a man seeking peace after years of war. They built a home near the ridge, using stone and cedar. Clara planted wildflowers. Elias hunted game and trained horses. At night, they laid together beneath a patched quilt, her head on his chest, his fingers tracing the scar on her cheek. But peace was short-lived. The sheriff hadn't forgotten. Months later, he led a posse of 6 men, drunk on hate and whiskey, to their home. The door shattered at dawn. Gunshots rang. Clara screamed as Elias fought, his blade slicing through 2 men before a rifle butt struck him from behind. They dragged Clara, kicking and clawing, back into town. Chapter 7, The Trial and the Rope. The town square became a gallows. The sheriff declared justice. No trial, just a hanging. Elias, tied and blooded, stood silent. Clara sobbed, bruised and broken, but unyielding. You'll kill an innocent man. He harmed no one here. The sheriff grinned. His Apache. He breathes. His guilty. The crowd murmured. And then Jim Lively stepped forward again. This ain't justice. This is murder. Others joined him. The general store owner, the stable boy, even the preacher's wife. I've seen enough hate to last 10 lifetimes, Jim said. Let the man live. Let the woman be. The sheriff reached for his pistol, but was met with 5 more pointed back at him. The crowd turned. The sheriff lowered the rope. His authority, his cruelty, was over. Chapter 8, Home again, heart whole. Elias collapsed as Clara rushed to him, clutching his torn shirt, sobbing into his chest. Weeks passed. The sheriff and his loyalists left Redemption Ridge in disgrace. A new mayor was elected. Peace began to settle like dust after a storm. Elias and Clara married in a quiet ceremony under the mesquite tree where they first met. She wore a simple blue dress. He wore a white shirt and a necklace of turquoise from his father's tribe. Years passed. Their ranch flourished. Clara grew strong. Elias laughed again. And one spring morning, as the wildflowers bloomed around their porch, Clara placed his hand over her belly and whispered, I kept my promise. Epilogue. Redemption owned. The story of Clara and Elias became legend, not because he was an outlaw, not because she was broken, but because together they created something rare on the frontier, a love stronger than prejudice, a peace stronger than pain, and a child born of both fire and healing. In Redemption Ridge, beneath the scorching sun and whispering wind, love found a way, always,